interrupt this program to bring you a Road to the White House special event, where President Trump delivers remarks on supporting the American way of life in Muskegon, Minnesota.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Road to the White House special coverage. I'm Jessica Rivera. President Trump is in Muskegon, Michigan today, where he will talk about his support of the American way of life. And with just 17 days left till Election Day, the time is now for the president to make his final push for undecided voters in battleground states. In President Trump's acceptance speech for a second term, he said, quote, "This election will decide whether we will defend the American way of life or whether we will allow a radical movement to completely dismantle and destroy it. Your vote will decide whether we protect law-abiding Americans or whether we give free rein to violent anarchists, agitators, and criminals who threaten our citizens," end quote. The president went on to say Joe Biden won't stand up for America, so this November, stand with him and vote to keep America great. And make sure to text APP to 888-111, that's APP to 888-111 for your America's Voice app, where you will get exclusive, unedited behind-the-scenes footage from rallies, riots, protests, and conferences across the nation. So when news happens in your city, you can upload your videos and maybe even join us here on air so America can hear your voice. And now we take you out to President Trump in Muskegon, Michigan.
We've done more than any administration in its first 3.5 years in the history of our country. America is winning again like never before, and America is respected again, respected at the highest level. Here, we're building a lot of them. We're building a lot of them. Well, hello, Michigan. Great to be with you. Great. Special place. It's great to be back in this incredible state with thousands of loyal, hardworking American patriots. We're all patriots. 17 days from now, we're going to win the state of Michigan. We're going to win 4 more years in the White House. I'd like to speak with you today about one of the most vital issues in this race. You know what it is? It's the radical left's plan to erase American history, purge American values, and destroy the American way of life. And that's what they're trying to do. You see it every day. That's what they're trying to do. We're not going to let that happen. This election will decide whether we preserve our magnificent heritage or whether we allow far-left radicals to wipe it all away. That's not going to happen. Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, has made a corrupt bargain in exchange for his party's nomination. He has handed control of his party over to the hardcore, militant left. You know that. You see that every day. The Democrat Party you once knew just no longer exists, right? This is not the same party. These people are crazy. It's now the party of socialists, Marxists, and left-wing extremists. If Biden wins, the lawless demonstrators in our streets that are around Democrat-run cities and state, not Republican-run. These are Democrat-run, and we want to go in, and we want to help them, and largely they don't want to be helped. It's an incredible thing. But they're all over our streets, and these areas will be ended. We want to end it. We want to end it. And you know, in theory, they're supposed to say, please come in. They don't like to say it. Minneapolis, they said it. We went in, and boy, did that take about, 30 minutes to solve that problem. And that's why we're going to win Minnesota. Hasn't been won since 1972 by a Republican. We're going to win Minnesota. Of course, having people like Omar doesn't hurt either. Omar, Ilhan Omar, She doesn't love our country too much. I don't think so. They crave power, and God help us if they ever did get it. God help us. I can tell you that. You just have to look all over the world at different places. God help us. This election day, the people of Michigan must stop these anti-American radicals by issuing Joe Biden and his group a thundering defeat at the ballot box. And by the way, it seems to be happening. Seems to be happening. I don't want to speak too early, but you know, there's a big story out right now. Do you know that? Do you know about it, right? You know, we're supposed to be way behind until Election Day when all the Republicans go and you're going to have a red wave like you've never seen before. And even the fake news media is saying that we're going to have a wave. We're going to have a wave like you've never seen before, but we're supposed to be way behind, you know, for the first few days. So it just came out. We're leading. What's that? Early voting. But let's not talk about it. It doesn't mean, you know what they call that? An early maybe signal, right? Maybe. Who knows? But there's a lot of concern going on out there. This sounds like a little bit like 4 years ago, but this should be much bigger because we've done everything we said and more. You know, we've done it all. We brought in your case, we brought your plants back. You remember 12 years ago or so, I got Man of the Year in Michigan. I said, well, that's nice. I came to Michigan and I made this speech like, why are you allowing them to take your automobile business, your car making business? Why are you allowing them to take it to Mexico and Canada and every place else? Why are you allowing? I made this big deal. I actually got blasted for it. You know, they named me Man of the Year and I'm complaining, right? But no, I hated it's probably why I'm here. It's probably the number one thing, what they were doing to us in trade. But now Michigan has many, many factories. You didn't have a factory built for 40 years. Now you have many factories being built, already built, and a lot of them being expanded. It's a whole different ballgame. Whole different ballgame. And they come in from Japan. I'll tell you, just retired, a great man, Prime Minister Abe. And I said to him, 6 months ago, I said, Mr. Prime Minister, you got to get us some more factories. You're selling cars to us. We're not taxing you. You know, a lot of crazy policies, but you got to get us. And he said, well, this is a thing for companies. I said, you have great power. I said, well, the government doesn't get involved. You got to do it. And he said, well, we will look into it. Next day, they announced 5 factories coming in. And he was a great prime minister and a great guy. He's a friend of ours. And he was forced, he had a medical difficulty, but I'll tell you what a fabulous guy. But what you're doing in Michigan has been amazing. Now, you got to get your governor to open up your state, okay? And get your schools open. Get your schools open. The schools have to be open, right? Lock them all up. And by the way, you can show all these people. Look where that goes, all the way over to there, and all the way. You can show. Turn the cameras. Why don't you turn? They never like turning the cameras. They never like to show the kind of crowds. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Go ahead, turn your camera. Go ahead, turn it. They hate to do it. They hate to show the crowds. You know, if you're watching television, which a lot of people are when we do this stuff, or they wouldn't put us on, but they always have like this face right here, this, and about 4 people behind. We've actually made a couple of stars. You know, there's somebody behind me here, here, here. They try and show as few people as possible. And if they had a certain look, it worked out pretty well. They became stars, right? That's the way it works. That's the way it works. But, you know, it's an honor to have it. We're having these crowds, in all fairness, all over the country. I don't even say anything. It's a big crowd. I just get off the plane and we talk. And the spirit is so incredible. Our enthusiasm is so incredible. It's so incredible. No, the spirit is incredible. I don't think there's ever been anything like that little phrase. I won't even say it because they'll say, oh, why is he bringing that up? So I won't say it, but you said, but that's never been used before. Nobody's ever heard that before. And we like Ronald Reagan. We like a lot of people. Nobody's ever heard that phrase before. You know why? Because there's people, first of all, we've made tremendous progress. We've rebuilt our military. We've cut your taxes at the highest level. We've gotten rid of more regulations than any president in history, no matter how long they were in office. Oh, by the way, we just set a record. By the end of the first term, we will have had maybe even more than 300 federal judges and 3 great Supreme Court justices. Right? So you have Justice Kavanaugh, Justice Gorsuch, and you have Amy is going through right now. She's great. She's done amazingly well. It's amazing to watch her compared to some of these radical left senators. It's like from a different ball game, right? It's like, go ahead. Go ahead. Hold up. Would like to see your notes. Oh, okay, here they are. There's nothing. Unlike Joe, she doesn't need notes. It's nice, right? Joe, he takes out the other day, did you see it? He takes out notes. $200 billion. He's lost it, you know that. The modern left does not use reason or persuasion to advance their cause. They use intimidation, coercion, and control, and worse. They demand absolute allegiance or else. And you saw that yesterday. Did you see Dianne Feinstein? Lindsey Graham is a good guy. You know, they're friendly. They've been working forever together. And she happened to grab him. He grabbed her. You know, it's so friendly. They want to destroy the woman. These people are sick. I know we want to bring it all together, but we got to sort of work on these things. One of the most sinister weapons of the extreme left culture is a thing called cancel or cancel culture. They want to cancel our entire heritage. If you do not repeat each and every one of their lies, you will be banned, censored. Big tech titans, what they do, they harass, they expel, they fire you from your job or denied the chance to earn a living. Here in Michigan, a teacher was fired for tweeting that Trump is our president. She got fired. Where is she? Is she here tonight? Now, can you imagine? But you know, we got a lot of people that like that. We like that person a lot. Whoever you are, we love you, and we'll be there for you. We'll be there for you. Did you hear about that? Did you hear about that? Nobody told me you're going to have 40-mile-an-hour winds today. Would somebody give me a hat? Will you please give me a hat? I got all these hats. I'm the only one without a hat on. Get me a hat. They'll get it. They'll go into that big, beautiful plane if they don't have a hat in that plane. Look at that. Is that beautiful? That's a beautiful plane. We have a beautiful country. Actually, I have the exact same plane. Can you see? Boeing 757. It's a beautiful plane. Look at that, though. Get me a hat out of that plane, please. In Ohio, a high school football player was suspended for displaying a flag honoring our great police. You saw that? When the New York Times published a piece by Senator Tom Cotton, by the way, great senator from Arkansas, great guy and great senator. The editor of the New York Times had to resign because they put Tom Cotton's brilliant, he's a brilliant person, brilliant student, brilliant everything. They put his piece in the New York Times, and the person that put it in had to resign. Can you believe this? When the Philadelphia Inquirer published a piece saying that rioters shouldn't destroy buildings, that was the end of that journalist. I mean, can you believe it? These are not the tactics of a respectable political movement. This is the behavior of fascists, and as bad as you can get. The point of cancel culture is not to convince you, it's to humiliate you and break you and control you. But the American people will never submit, we will never apologize, and we will not be controlled and never be broken. No, nobody's seen anything like what's going on. Now, in other countries, you have seen it. And those countries have, in every single case, ended up very badly. It's never going to happen to this country. And this country will never be a socialist country, just remember, ever. The most divisive and insidious strategy of the Marxists and the Democrats, socialists, and communists, in all fairness, people say, oh, that's not nice to use. Well, that's the step, that's the next step, that's where it goes. Is their crusade against American history, right? American history. And I just brought this out because they had things like, you wouldn't even believe this. They falsely and constantly smear America as a sinister and racist country that must be torn apart piece by piece. It has to be torn apart. We're not tearing anything apart. We're here today, and you know the truth. America is the most magnificent, most virtuous nation that has ever existed. The most. We've liberated millions from tyranny, rescued countless millions all around the world from poverty, and built the most exceptional republic in human history. There's never been anything close. And you know what? I have a little secret just in this group, this small group of thousands of people. We're getting better and better and stronger, and we're going to have the best year we ever had. Yet the radical left despises this glorious inheritance. They despise it. When you watch and you see AOC +3 and you see these people, they actually despise it. Last month, the mayor of Washington, D.C., released a report that proposed the idea of removing or altering the Washington Monument, the Jefferson Memorial, the statues of Benjamin Franklin, Andrew Jackson, and Christopher Columbus. No, this is a serious report. And he says they're sick. I agree. I'm not allowed to say that. No, this was a group, a star-spangled group. Let's get rid of the Washington Monument. Oh, that's a great idea, right? Now, these people, but you know what? We laugh and we smile, and everyone thinks it's... When this first started happening with statues of people that most of us, almost all of us, never heard of, started on the... I said, be careful, because they'll go after Jefferson, Washington. They'll go after Lincoln. And that was 3 years ago, and a friend of mine came to me the other day. He said, you said this was going to happen. I said, I did? He said, yeah, you did. You said all of a sudden it'll keep going up. They took out Robert E. Lee. They want to take out Grant. They want to take out anything. They basically want to take out our heritage. And we're not letting this happen. And Biden has absolutely no control. He's shot, number one. But even if he wasn't shot, he never had the kind of control that you have to be president. So then you have a group of people that want to blow up a gorgeous thing. We were leading by so much. This thing wasn't even going to be an election, and then we had the plague come in. I had to go back to work on this stuff. I didn't have to come to Michigan. I said, look, we're building all these plants. You got the best year. You had the best year last year that you've ever had. You're going to have a better year. You're going to have a better year. You're going to have a better year next year. But this thing was over. Look, nothing's ever over, right? But I would have had to work about 1/10, maybe less than that. It was essentially, we had the greatest economy, greatest employment, African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, women, with a diploma from high school, without a diploma from high school, top of your class at MIT, it didn't matter. You had the greatest economy you ever had. And don't worry, you're gonna have that next year. When you see the third quarter numbers, you're gonna have great numbers, okay? You're gonna have great numbers. But, we had to close it up, and we saved millions of lives. It was supposed to be 2.2. The fake news never says that. But we are rebuilding, and we're doing things that you wouldn't believe. But this cancel culture. So when we started, and I had to start all over, and I had to do, we had to do things a lot different. became a lot different country for a period of time because we had this horrible plague that came from China, and we're not going to forget that it came from China, and all over the world it went, and it came from China, okay? It came from China, the China virus. So things changed, and we signed an incredible trade deal with China, but the ink hadn't even dried, and this happened. But I made a speech at a magnificent place called Mount Rushmore, right? Mount Rushmore in South Dakota. And I made this speech, and I think it was a very good speech, and it was well received and all of that. It was so beautiful. The whole place, you have to see this. It was so beautiful. And the governor is fantastic. You know Christie, right? Fantastic. And the people are fantastic, and they're so proud of it. And then I read where they want to blow up Mount Rushmore. Before I got there, I mean, they want to blow it up. We want to blow the face off Mount Rushmore. I don't think that's happening. I think the people of South Dakota might not handle that too well. So it's not happening. But think of it. Where does this thinking come from? Where does this sickness come from? And we have to stop it, and we've been. Like Sleepy Joe said nothing when statues of Christopher Columbus. Think of that, Christopher Columbus. They want to blow up all the statues. Now, he just blew the Italian vote, by the way, so I don't know. Anybody who's Italian here by any chance? Okay. If you're Italian, do you happen to like Christopher Columbus? Christopher, huh? Christopher Columbus, now think of it, you're Italian, they want to blow up. You know, we had it, I think it was in New York, so they were going to rip down this gorgeous, right, New York, right? And the Italians circled it, they saw. That was the end of those people. They just sort of went away. You know, they're sitting there and standing there. And they had various things that they were holding. I won't get into that because they'll say, that's terrible. He's inciting violence, the president. No, but the Italians, a group of Italians that lived in the neighborhood, surrounded this particular statue. And after about 5 minutes of talk back and forth, the radical anarchists and the Antifa people that nobody ever liked to talk about, they don't like to say Antifa. You know, they don't like to say Antifa. They like to blame everything on the right. This is the left. They like to blame everything on the right. But the Antifa people, okay, so they wanted to do it. But when they saw this group of people, they said, you know what? Let's take a pass. Let's go someplace else and rip down the statue. But now they're not doing it too much because I signed into law, I signed a bill that gives you 10 years in jail if you rip down any federal statue. So this is the group, though. So this is the Statues and Memorial Recommendation using the mayor's position, Washington, D.C., or the National Capital Memorial Advisory Commission. Recommend the federal government remove, relocate the following: Christopher Columbus statue, Benjamin Franklin statue, Andrew Jackson, great general, really good president, a great general. Andrew Jackson, the Battle of New Orleans, right? Right, the ragtags, remember? He came in with the British, they came in their beautiful uniforms, he had the ragtags. The battle lasted about a half hour, right? They want to take that statue of Andrew Jackson down right away. Thomas Jefferson, that's a tough one to take down, right? Thomas Jefferson. They want to take down the Jefferson Memorial. Anybody see the Jefferson? I don't think we're moving. I'll tell you what. If I wasn't your president last summer, you may have the Jefferson Memorial taken down. It may be down. They weren't playing games. We weren't playing games either. The George Washington. Okay, here's the beauty. We want to take down the George Washington Memorial, the monument. Okay? Well, this is the commission. This is what we're dealing with, folks. This is what we're doing. Website. And they wanted to remove the name of George Washington from all of the places all over the country where they used it. Then they found out there's like 5,000 places. Now, we'll keep the name George Washington if you don't mind. If the media would perhaps put it correctly. A lot of people back there. There's always a lot of people. You know, you watch those red lights, and as soon as I start talking about the red lights go off because I know what I'm going to say. You know, Joe Biden said nothing when statues of Christopher Columbus were in trouble, and a heroic signer of the Declaration of Independence was removed by the Democrat politicians in his home state of Delaware, which he never leaves, in all fairness. Where's Joe Biden speaking today, Delaware? He doesn't speak. You know what he does? He gets up. How about his news conferences where the fake news media gives him the questions and the answers? They say, what do you think about this or that? And then he reads the answer. I've been doing this stuff not that long, and I haven't actually been doing it. Relatively speaking, I've been doing it for a very short period of time, right? In fact, that's one of the reasons they said I could never win. They said he's never been a politician. But the fact is, they gave him the questions, they gave him the answers. They will ask a question, and he will read to them the answer. And did you see the other night with George Stephanopoulos? It was like, they call them softballs. And then I had to go on with that person, that person. No, she was jumping out of her seat. She was jumping out of her seat. Thank you very much, Johnny. Everybody know Johnny? He's very conservative. He's a big star, and I hate to say this, it's very incorrect. You don't say it anymore, but the women really like him a lot. Normally, when I have a hat, I like to take the tie off the back with it, right? This side. All right, Johnny. Okay, thank you. Thank you all. So, last week, Biden, he attacked Christopher Columbus by refusing to recognize Columbus Day. And he wants to change the name of Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. Who likes that idea? Who likes it? What the heck are you saying? That's politically incorrect. See, what they don't understand is they're politically incorrect. So he wants to change it to Indigenous Peoples Day. Not as long as I'm president, let me just tell you that, okay? But this is what, that's just a point, but this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. The radical left is eradicating our history, and weak Joe Biden will let them do it. Now, what about his vice presidential candidate? Hey, and by the way, I hope she's in good shape because a number of people in her group have caught COVID as they say. So we all wish her best. Do we all wish her best? Yes, we do. We do. We hope she's doing well, but she's now, I guess, she's in seclusion, right? How did Mike Pence do against her? Done a great job, right? That was an easy one. I said, Mike, that was an easy one. He's been a great vice president, but he had an easy evening. I said, Mike, you had an easy evening. That's not fair. San Francisco just announced plans for a fascist purge of the names of local schools, erasing the names of Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, and Thomas Jefferson from all schools. What are we going to do about this? Local. That's Nancy Pelosi area, that's Nancy. I always say, Nancy, go home and take care of the homeless in San Francisco. I've never seen, So she does. She goes home and takes care of her home, which is a very beautiful home. They even want to erase the names of Democrat senators and Republican senators, current and past. They want to erase the name of Clinton. Yeah, hey, that'll be next. That's a good one. Crooked Hillary will take her name. Does she have her name on anything? I don't know if she's got her name on anything, right? If she does, I'm all for it. Take it down. Crooked Hillary. Are we having a good time? Is there ever a better place to be than a Trump rally, And generally, we don't call it a rally because, you're not allowed to have rallies because you can't meet more than two people. They had a number of states, and they had it so that it was all against me. I think Minnesota, but a lot of them where you can't have a rally. And it said you cannot have groups larger than 3 people. You cannot have anything to do with politics. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do that. I said, well, wait a minute. So I'm now precluded from ever going to that state. and talking to the people, which is really bad. They said, no, you can't do it. I said, well, is there any exclusion? Yes. Only protests, right? Exclusion is a protest. And they didn't even use the word peaceful. I do, because I like to make it sound a little. The only thing you could do is you could protest, you could riot in the streets of Minneapolis, burn down their stores, you could beat the hell out of people, you could do whatever you want. So I said, I have an idea. Let's call all our rallies, which we do, peaceful protests. And now we have no legal problem. Because if we call this a rally, we'd have a problem. So we call it a peaceful protest. So officially, if anyone asks you, like the fake news when you're walking in, just say, no, this was a peaceful protest. Thank you very much. If you're a moderate Democrat or liberal who knows that your party has gone totally off the rails, you have a moral duty to immediately stop this lunacy. You must, by law, join the Republican Party. We welcome you to the Republican Party and the party of Abraham Lincoln. You know, I say that. A lot of people don't know that. That's the party of Trump. Yeah. Well, we've done a lot. I'll tell you, we've expanded this party. You see all in Michigan and all these places? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, you really drive them crazy if you say 12 more years. 12. Then they say, he is a fascist. He is a fascist. What a group. Only in Michigan. Only in Michigan. So what all of the lawless rioters and flag burners have in common is that they're desperate to try and have a victory with a person that's totally unqualified mentally to be president, okay? He's unqualified, you know? No, he's unqualified. Ask yourself this question. Do you want to vote for the candidate supported by anti-American rioters, which he is? Or do you want to vote for the candidate supported by the heroes of law enforcement in virtually every instance? Biden will surrender our country to the mob. With your vote, we will save our country from the mob. We will make our country greater than ever before. To ensure that our nation honors the memory of American patriots, I'm establishing a beautiful, vast, it's going to be chosen in the very near future, we have many sites, a vast outdoor park that will feature the statues of all of the greatest Americans who have ever lived. It's going to be called the National Garden of American Heroes. Isn't that nice? Now, you know me from private life, so I'm thinking about calling it the Trump National Garden of American. Somebody said, why don't you go with the Trump National? I said, no, I don't think I'll get away with that one. To combat the toxic left-wing propaganda in our schools, I recently announced that we're launching a new pro-American lesson plan for students called the 1776 Commission. We will teach our children the greatness and glory of America, if they don't know it. But, you know, they're not being taught that. They're being taught that we're not great. I've also issued an executive order to prohibit the teaching of critical race theory in the federal government. Critical race theory is a Marxist doctrine. Oh, you're so lucky I'm your president, because that was getting out of hand. No, this was getting out of hand. This was getting out of hand. This was getting in the military. This was going all over the place. This was getting out of hand. Critical race theory is a Marxist doctrine that rejects the vision of Martin Luther King Jr. and all of our great forefathers, and instead forces people to judge each other based on race, skin color, and other things that we're not supposed to be thinking about. We're not supposed to be in any way, shape, or form thinking about critical race theory teaches that America is an evil country and that you are part of this oppression from the moment you're born. I will not allow federal taxpayer dollars to be used to spread anti-American propaganda. And I went a step further because I ended it for government. And some of these guys were getting paid $350,000 a year to destroy our country, by the way. I ended it, and then I was told that it's outside of our, it's really an evil deal going on, and very racist, very racist. And I said, well, what's the problem? They said, well, we have a lot of companies that do business with our country, you know, defense companies, a lot of big companies. And I said, so what's going on? Well, they're teaching it there too. So I signed another one just 2 weeks ago, saying that if you do that, you cannot do business with the United States of America. And it was rather incredible how fast all of those people were fired. That was the end of that. But they're lurking, you know, they're part of a problem, and they're lurking out there. They're smart, they're plenty smart. We must reject left-wing hate and unite as one proud national family. If Sleepy Joe Biden and the Democrat socialists are elected, every citizen in America will be subjected to their extreme ideology. Possessed by this Marxist madness, they'll kill your jobs, dismantle your police departments, dissolve your borders, raise your taxes, destroy your suburbs. I saved your suburbs. Women, suburban women, you're supposed to love Trump. I got rid of the regulation. I can't believe it. They can't. You know, the fake news keeps saying that suburban women don't like me because I don't sound nice. I don't have time to be nice. I got a lot of work to do for you. But I think I'm nice. I want to be nice. I want to help people. But no, you had a regulation that will destroy, and it has been over the years. I've been watching it for a long time. They want to build low-income housing projects right next to your house. Would you like a nice low-income housing project next to your suburban, beautiful ranch-style house? Generally speaking, no.
Let Joe live there.
No, everybody, he says, let Joe live there. Who said that? No, you did. Very good. I think that's good. Every once in a while, you hear these like pearls of wisdom from the audience. He goes, let Joe live there. You know, Joe lives pretty well for a guy that has been a politician all his life. But they want to fund extreme late-term abortion, pack your Supreme Court. Well, look, then you gotta get out and vote. Of course, based on what I'm reading, Michigan, a lot of you have gotten out and vote. Hey, is that vote still crazy like it was? Is it still like, because, you know, I'm just wondering, maybe it's just an aberration. It's early. It's only been a few days, right? But maybe it's, that's a big thing, you know, to me. That's a big thing. You know, that's like a poll, and that's hundreds of thousands of votes. That's like a poll. You ever see these polls? We have interviewed 83 people. No, it's amazing. They're not likely to vote. You know, you're supposed to interview likely to vote. So they're not likely. They're registered. You know what a registered voter is? People that have died 14 years ago are registered. They're registered to vote. You have plenty of them in Los Angeles. You know, they had many people. They were over 100 years old. Every one of them voted for years. Then they got to be 110. They kept voting. And then people said, well, this is getting to be like record territory, you know. When you have hundreds of them voting, no, it's a lot of corrupt stuff going on, but we're getting it. We're getting it. But they want to pack the courts, pack the Supreme Court. That's a big deal. And you won't have Amy, and you won't have the great people that we've been putting on the court. You're going to have radical left judges who will become justices. You may have 15, you may have 16, you may have 18, I don't know. What they want to do is incredible. You know, they want to pick up 4 votes in the Senate too, you know that, right? They want to add to our list of states, you know that, right? You'll have a lot of senators added, you have a lot of congressmen added. You have to rebuild those gorgeous rooms. You have so many seats added. All Democrats, every one of them will be Democrat. You better get out and vote. You better get out and vote. They want to get rid of the filibuster, you know. They want to use the nuclear weapon. It's called the nuclear weapon. They want to get rid of the filibuster, and they'll be able to do whatever they want. So you got to get your president in office, because we're going to protect your Second Amendment. We're going to protect all of the things that you want. But without it, you're not going to have a Second Amendment. So while I'm president, I will protect and defend the American way of life always. It's only going to get better. So we're joined today by some friends of mine. They're warriors, really. They're very incredible people. Congressman Jack Bergman. Where's Jack? Where are you, Jack? Great job, Jack. Great job. How are we doing? Are we doing okay in Michigan? Huh? You're doing okay, too. Thank you, Jack. Great job. Michigan House Speaker Lee Chatfield. Lee. Young guy, Lee. Good. Great reputation. He's doing a good job. Lee's good, right? Great reputation. Thank you very much. Congressional candidate, somebody really fantastic I know all about, Paul Young. Paul, thank you. Good job. I heard you're doing well, Paul. Michigan GOP Chair Laura Cox. Thank you, Laura. We winning, Laura? We're winning. Those are pretty interesting numbers. Did you know that before you came out? That's a little, even Laura's saying, boy, I'm doing a good job, right? And by the way, get out and vote for an outstanding guy, John James. Right? He's outstanding. John James. He is outstanding. I'll tell you, I spotted him 3 years ago, and he was doing something, and he was in this race, and there were 5 or 6 people, and I said, go back, I want to see that. And it was John James, and I said, no, that guy's great, I'll tell you what. And then I learned about him, West Point, top student, top everything, great helicopter pilot, and right? How's he doing, good? I hear he's doing better than good. And he's running against somebody that nobody ever heard of, Peters. Who the hell is Peters? Nobody ever heard of him. Now, he's made a big impact in Washington. He's a senator from Michigan, and nobody ever heard of him. I don't know. But get out for John and get out for everybody, and these people are incredible, and thank you all for being here. We appreciate it very much. Thank you. Also with us is one of your own. You know, we won the state of Michigan, and this woman was brutal. She'd call, please, one more speech, sir, one more speech. That time she called me Mr. Trump. So the Republicans hadn't won Michigan in decades, right? And I felt we were doing good in Michigan, right? I felt we were doing good. But, you know, when you haven't won it in like 38 years or something, you know, you could feel good, but you start to realize maybe it doesn't work out. But this woman would call me, and she'd say, you have to come. And so finally, we're toward the end, and I said, Ronna, I'll do it one more time, but that's it. I got a lot of places to visit. I love Michigan, but it hasn't been won in 36 years. I said, you know, Ronna, if you don't mind, okay, I'll do it one more time. She said, that's all I want. So I did it. The following day, she called up, you have to come back one more time. So anyway, so I did, and I went to Grand Rapids, right? And we had 32,000 people, and you know what? That was at 1 o'clock in the morning. It was now election day, remember? And Crooked Hillary came, and it was unexpected. You know, say what you want about her husband, Bill. He's a pro. He said, be careful of Trump. That was the first thing. He said, you don't want to run against Trump. And I viewed that as a compliment. They all smiled. They thought it was wonderful. But he said something very interesting. He said, you better watch Michigan, because he was here. He said, I saw a Trump-Pence sign on every lawn. And he also said, you better watch Wisconsin, and you better watch Minnesota. Now, Minnesota hasn't been won since 1972. He said, watch, and they all laughed at him. First of all, he's got instinct. He's a professional. Bill Clinton, whether you like him, don't like him, I actually sort of, you gotta like him, right? But listen, but he said, you better be careful. And he came back and said very strongly, be careful of Michigan. And so then all of a sudden, on the night before the election, they took an unexpected trip. Barack Hussein Obama, Michelle Obama, Oprah, and Hillary. They actually forgot about Hillary. And it was unexpected, and I heard about it. And I said, oh, that means that they have a problem. Because remember, they came here the night before. 500 people showed up. We had 32,000 people show up. Because Ronna, our great Ronna, said, sir, you got to come. And we did. And by the time we got here, I started speaking at 1 o'clock in the morning. I can't believe it. But I left, and I said, so let me ask you a question. It's been many, many years since this. How the hell do you lose if you have 32,000 people? You know, because that's like the ultimate. She said, you don't. Yeah, that's right. That's what happened. And I'll tell you what, the enthusiasm, and not only in Michigan, but the enthusiasm all over the country is far greater. And it was great 4 years ago. It's far greater right now than it ever was. So, Ronna, great job. Great job. Ted Nugent. Where's Ted Nugent? Where's Ted? Look at you. You doing well? You are a handsome devil. Thank you. Great job, Ted. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. We just won a huge victory for voting rights in Michigan. Did you hear about it? Ballot harvesting, you know, that's the old Democrat thing. Ballot harvesting is now illegal as of a short number of hours ago. And ballots must be turned in on November 3rd, also known as Election Day.
Here again is Dr. Michael Brown.
A few years ago, I interviewed David Aikman on my radio show. Man fluent in Russian and Chinese, international background as a journalist, a man who's interviewed, you name it, world leaders, political leaders, kings, man who's interviewed Hamas terrorists and others, spiritual leaders. I mean, a wide range of people. And I asked him a question. I said, out of everyone that you've interviewed, which interview stood out the most? Which person that you talked to? I mean, there were some chilling terrorists and evil, just all kinds of different things. But I said, which person that you interviewed stood out the most? He said, Billy Graham. Without hesitation, answered, Billy Graham. Why? He said, because all the interviews I did, I was asking the people about them. He said, Billy Graham wanted to know about me and how I was doing. Yeah, that's God's heart, friends. And I want to turn the focus and turn the attention to you. How are you doing? How are you doing in the midst of one of the craziest seasons in American history? Maybe putting everything together, the craziest, the wildest, the most divided, the most chaotic, the most uncertain, the one that reads like a bad novel because nobody would paint all of this into 1 year. It's just too extreme, too crazy. And we're still in October. How are you doing? What's your state of mind? Hey, you get to weigh in today. 866-34-TRUTH. I'd love to hear from you. 866-348-7884. If you want to talk about the Amy Coney Barrett hearings for her nomination to the Supreme Court, we can talk about that. We can talk about the elections in general and where you stand as a believer. But I want to know above all, how are you doing? What's your spiritual state of mind? Now, I've got exciting news, a way that you can weigh in if you can't call in live. So just stay here 1 second and I'll give you another phone number. But everyone can call 866-348-7884. Look at the results of a poll I did on Twitter. Check this out. I asked on Twitter, how are you doing? Where are you coming from? My specific wording. This is October 9th, right? Here's a personal question for you. If you consider yourself a person of faith, I especially wanted to know what people were feeling, going through, if they feel they have God in their lives. What's your state of mind these days? Pick the answer that most describes how you're feeling. Now, on Twitter, you can give 4 choices, so that's what I was limited to. So the 4 choices were discouraged, weary, optimistic, energized. So here are the 4 choices I gave. Trying to give a range. Obviously, there are hundreds of other emotions you could put down, but try to give a range. Discouraged, weary, optimistic, energized. So if you're just hearing that, where would you put yourself? And how do you think people voted in general? So discouraged, that was 12.7%. Weary, that was the highest number, 39.3%. We do the polls for 24 hours, so we got 1,854 votes in the 24 hours. Discouraged, 12.7%. That was actually the lowest, was discouraged. Weary was the highest, 39.3%. It's been just one thing after another. Where it's terribly wearing right now. Life is very wearying. Optimistic, 33.9%. So that was second. And energized, 14%. So some are just energized by the conflict or energized by the opportunity around us. And then we got many, many people added in their comments. So if you look at discouraged and weary together, that gets you at 52%. And then the other 48% optimistic, energized. So overall, between negative and positive, it was closer than you might expect. But it's not surprising for people of faith, because with God in your life, you have a different perspective. When you know the Lord, you have a different perspective. Here, when there's a fire in your neighborhood, if it's your own house, you have one perspective. If it's the neighbor's house, you have another perspective. If you're a fireman, you have another perspective, right? So this is the moment you're waiting for, where you can now go and save a life, or go or help someone from losing everything. If you're a fireman, if it's your own home, you feel one way. Your neighbor's home, you feel, you're concerned, but you feel differently. So the way these things impact us, the craziness of the day, the divisiveness that we're living in, the media wars, the political wars, and the pandemic, and the economy, and nothing's, even the sports world, things are not normal by any stretch of the imagination. But there have been, in baseball, 6 Hall of Famers have died this year. 3 of the greatest pitchers who ever pitched died. It's just like, what? Everything is just out of skew, or death, or that kind of focus. How do we respond in the middle of it? When I asked on Facebook, when I last checked, I couldn't do a poll on Facebook, so I just asked the question. We had over 1,500 comments of people wanting to weigh in and share how they're doing. So we're going to get to that. We're going to hear how different people are doing. We're going to share some things with you that will encourage, help, because that's our goal. Build you up, strengthen you. But here's the neat news. If you're listening on podcast, and we know the great majority of our listeners actually listen after the show, don't listen or watch live. So if you're listening on podcast, or maybe it's Saturday night and you're watching on Dish TV or Pluto TV, you're watching on the America's Voice channel, or you're watching this on another network, I'm going to give you an 800 number. Now, it's not going to retroactively splice you into the show. No, we don't have the technology that if you call 5 days later, we can miraculously splice you into the live show. Sorry, we don't have a reverse time tunnel. But here's the deal. If you call this number, and maybe you're just at work now and you're listening, but you can't call in, or whatever reason, you can leave a message. You say, what's the use of that? I'll tell you. You don't like me? You want to give me a piece of your mind? You differ? You just want to be able to speak your mind for a couple of minutes without being interrupted. Whatever it is, I'm going to give you a number, and you can call this number 24 hours a day, all right? Anytime within the United States. You can call this number, leave a message up to about 2 minutes.
Happens to them, but you're crooked as hell. And to me, that didn't exactly look like a friendly transition, would you say? Mr. Congressman, that was not a friendly transition, please. So anyway, we're, the best way, if we could really win this decisively, it would be fabulous. Just decisively. Knockout. It's a knockout punch. And you know what? We'll all get back together. Somebody said, how do you bring the country together? I said it was happening. Before the China virus came in, it's true. I was starting to get calls from people, the most unlikely people. Democrats, very radical left Democrats. And all of a sudden, we had the best employment numbers we ever had. We had 160 million people working. It's called Make America Great Again. Now I say, Make America Great Again again. It's Make America Great Again again. We'll have to change those hats. But we had it, and people were calling. And I'm telling you, the country was coming together, and then we had the China virus float in. But this country was coming together, because there's nothing like success. And success was bringing it together. And people ask me, can it ever get together? And some people here will be surprised when I say the answer is yes. Success is going to bring us together. And I'm telling you, we were there. We had just signed the deal with China. We had just made the USMCA, Mexico, Canada, great trade deal. Got rid of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. But we were there, and calls were being made, and it was like, and then we got hit with the pandemic, with the rest of the world. And China kept it out of the rest of China, but they didn't keep it out of the world. So we can never forget that. But I'll tell you what keeps us, what will bring us all together is success. It's going to happen, too. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Our congressman will be having lunch soon, someday, with a radical left, maybe AOC. Do you see yourself? Maybe not. That might, he's going, I don't know about that. That might be a step too far, right? Omar. He'll be having lunch with Ilhan Omar, who truly hates our country. But she's one of the reasons we're going to win the great state of. And we're going to win. We're going to win because of Ilhan, right? We're going to win Minnesota because of her. You don't see having lunch with her. He refuses. He said, I don't care how well we do. I'm not having lunch with her, right? Well, he's a warrior. He knows what he's doing. I'm delivering a safe vaccine and a rapid recovery. And you see what we've done with the vaccines and the therapeutic and the cures. Hey, I'm here. I'm here, right? No, we had great doctors. Walter Reed Medical Center, incredible doctors. Johns Hopkins. One thing when you're president, they have a lot of doctors. I'm laying in bed, I'm not feeling too great, and I'm looking up and I'm seeing doctors there. I just get, please leave me alone. And each one wanted to touch a different part of my body. And I didn't like that. I said, get the hell out of here, doctors. But we had a drug, brand new. It's Regeneron. And some others make something similar, antibodies. And all I know is I went from not feeling too great. Now, who knows? It might have been good. It might have been, young people have no problem. And I made the mistake of saying in front of CNN and some of the fakers back there, I said, well, I'll have no trouble because I'm young, I'm in extraordinary shape, I'm a very great physical. And CNN said, he lied to the American public. He said he was young and that he's in perfect shape. They can't take a joke, can they? They can't take a joke. No, but they made it into a big deal. They always do, that you can't do anything. I said with the illegal aliens that come in, Biden said we'll give them all Medicare, we'll give them health care, we'll give them education. No, what it does is it brings them in. So I said that the Democrats want to give them health care, free college education, and everybody that comes in by a certain date, you'll get a brand new Rolls Royce. Now, I was kidding, obviously. CNN said, President Trump lied when he said they were getting a Rolls Royce. He knew they weren't going to get a Rolls Royce, but he lied. These are sick people, I'm telling you. Biden's plan will crush Michigan. My plan will make this state stronger, better in every single way than it ever was before. Joe Biden is the embodiment of the corrupt political class. You see what's happening right now. And you know what? The lamestream media doesn't want to write about it. And the giant tech companies, and they're putting themselves in danger. Section 230, they are putting themselves, because they're only existing because the government gave them something that they've never given anybody else. And they don't want it. You could find Joe Biden did the worst crime, and they will keep it out of it's the most unbelievable thing. No, it's the most unbelievable thing what's going on, and he's a criminal. He's committed crimes. For the last 47 years, Biden shipped away your jobs, shut down your factories, threw open your borders, ravaged our cities while sacrificing American blood and treasure in these ridiculous, endless foreign wars. They're all coming home, by the way. In 2016, Michigan voted to fire this corrupt and decrepit political establishment, and you elected an outsider as president to finally put America first, right? America. We've spent the last 4 years reversing the damage Joe Biden and his group inflicted upon us over the last 47 years. He was a cheerleader for NAFTA, worst trade deal ever made. TPP would have been worse than NAFTA, but I stopped it. And you know what else I stopped? The Paris Environmental Accord. And I like Prime Minister Macron a lot, but I said, how's it going over there? How's the Accord doing? They're not doing too good. Now, I saved you trillions of dollars. Nobody else would have done it. You know, when I said, oh, man, I'm breaking this Paris, I'm getting out of that thing, that was a disaster. They basically wanted to take our wealth. You can't use what's underground, and we have it and other countries don't. It was really a terrible thing. And you know, it's funny, I got out, I terminated it, got out. And the people got it. They praised it. They thought it was fantastic, except for some of those guys. They thought it was fantastic. Half of all auto manufacturing jobs in Michigan were lost after Biden backed NAFTA and the China disasters, right? World trade. That's when China became strong, the world trade, one of the great ripoffs of all time. Biden should be asking Michigan workers for your votes. I mean, he's asking you for your votes. You know what he should be asking? He should be asking for your forgiveness. You should forgive him. I would say forgive him, because even then he had no idea what the hell he was doing. He was never known as one of your smarter senators. A friend of mine said 25 years ago, yeah, let's see, our dumbest guy, I'd probably Joe. I said, who's Joe? Joe Biden. That was 25 years ago. That was prime time. This is no longer prime time. For decades, our politicians spent trillions of dollars rebuilding foreign nations, fighting foreign wars and defending foreign borders. But now we are finally protecting our nation, rebuilding our cities, and we are bringing our jobs, our factories, and our troops back home to the USA. I'll tell you, the spirit, look at the sound. I mean, it's like a great football game, right? No, really. No, the sound, you don't hear this anywhere. More so, it's more. This country, we have spirit, and that's why I'm not so surprised to hear what's happening. You know, in North Carolina, they say certain areas that are, you know, inclined with maybe our thinking, like you have to go out and work and love your life and get your kids in school and all of those things. They say the lines are 2 miles long. They've never seen anything like it. The spirit in our country is incredible. And that's happening. That's going to be happening in Pennsylvania. You watch, it's going to be happening all over the place. My first week in office, I withdrew from Obama-Biden's Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have been the death to the American automobile industry. If we had signed that, and you people are affected more than anybody, and I'd always say, and Ohio's done great and others have, but I'd always say, you know, we got to put these jobs back, these auto jobs back with it, because you got 34% of your automobile business was destroyed and shipped to Mexico. And I said, how the hell did anyone let that happen? And they'd make a car and send it back into our country, sell it. So we lost all the jobs, all the taxes, all the factories. They got everything. They'd sell it. And that's it. We got nothing. We got nothing. I renegotiated the disastrous Obama-Biden trade deal with South Korea that also threatened to devastate your auto industry. And I doubled our auto exports under the deal. That was the deal. That was the Hillary Clinton deal. Remember that? She said, this deal is great. It's going to produce 250,000 jobs. And she was right. You know what? For South Korea, not for us. Didn't produce anything for us, but it gave them 250,000. So we renegotiated it. You think that was easy? Biden supported the outrageous fuel economy standard that hammered the auto industry, just ridiculous, over just a little quarter of a glass. They had what they had to do. I reversed that rule and helped millions of families afford a safer, better, just a better, more beautiful car. Stronger, safer, heavier. It could be a little bit heavier. Let it be a little bit heavier. It's safer. It's stronger. I ended the NAFTA nightmare and signed the brand new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement into law. Everyone said that was going to be impossible. And it's just now kicking in, and I know it's good because the other two countries aren't so thrilled. But look, they ripped us off for years and years with that crazy NAFTA. Look at all the empty buildings you had all over, from New England to here, all over the place. What a horrible deal that was. The USMCA is expected to create a minimum of 76,000 new automobile, the auto fixers, the automobile jobs, automotive jobs. You have so many of them, and they're all coming, and many of them are coming out of here, and that includes 76,000, we think, right here. It's going to be in Michigan, and we actually think that's a low number. It could be much higher than that. It includes a lot of wage protections, too. I took the toughest ever action to stand up to China, defending Michigan workers against China's plunder and theft, and you know what I mean. If Biden wins, China will own America. He's going to own it. First of all, they pay him a fortune, so you know why wouldn't he? Works for China, basically. He works for China. How much money has China? How about Russia? So the mayor's wife of Moscow gives him 3.5, the son, Hunter, with no experience, no nothing. But they found his laptop. Can you believe this guy? They found his laptop. And they have everything. I mean, this is a disaster. They found Hunter's laptop. Where is Hunter? Where's Hunter? Hunter's not doing so well. I called him the vacuum cleaner. I changed my name. I used to call him Where's Hunter. His first name was Where. Now I call him the vacuum cleaner. His father goes into a country. He's right behind him saying, give me cash. That's what happens. By the way, that's what happens. Think of it. Ukraine, he got $183,000 a month, $3 million upfront payment to advise them on energy. What do you know about energy? Well, I don't know anything about energy. Oh, that sounds like a reasonable deal. Even our congressman would take that deal, right? Anybody would take that deal. Is there anybody that wouldn't take that deal? No, we call him the human vacuum cleaner. His father goes into China. He follows him into China. Walks out with $1.5 billion to manage, which is millions of dollars a year. I call the head of the biggest Wall Street firm, probably the smartest guy on Wall Street. I say, can a thing like that happen? He says, no, it's impossible. Doesn't even happen to me, and I have the best reputation for investments. It's a disgrace. And let me tell you, it's dishonest. And when he tells that, you talk about quid pro quo. I never had a quid pro quo. How about this quid pro quo? We're not going to give you the $1 billion unless you get rid of the prosecutor. Get rid of him out of that company, which is his son. Stop investigating my son and stop investigating, or I'm not giving you the $1 billion of our money. And then he goes, boom, the prosecutor was fired. And they got the $1 billion. And the press refuses to write about it because they are actually equally corrupt. They're allowing it to happen. They are allowing it to happen. And many other things. And many, many other things. Okay, look, it's all coming up. Many other things. Fake news, CNN. CNN is so bad. They can take a great story and make it like terrible. They are truly, in my opinion, one of the most dishonest groups of people I've ever seen in my life. And by the way, you know what? And their ratings suck. Their ratings suck. Joe Biden is a corrupt politician, and the Biden family is a criminal enterprise, and I totally mean it. It's a criminal. Take a look at the brother. All of a sudden, he's a big builder in Iraq. How did that happen? Oh, how did he get to Iraq? He hasn't built anything. How did you get to Iraq to build big developments in Iraq? His brother. He makes Hillary Clinton, I call her Crooked Hillary, as you possibly have heard, look like amateur hour. I also authorized millions of, I don't think they like me too much. What do you? I also authorized millions of dollars to save Michigan's incredible, beautiful, vital, but falling apart Sulaks, and fought over. And I had to fight like hell with the Democrats to get it done. And we got $900 million for the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. All done. It's all done. I don't have to say I'll do it because it's all done. And the locks were in terrible shape. You're going to lose them very quickly, and we have them. It's going to be incredible what we're doing. They said, sir, do you want to do the good job, the okay job, the passable job, a little minor renovation, or a great job? And I said, let's see, it's Michigan and a couple of other great states. Let's give them the A-plus job. And we did. Okay? We gave you the A-plus job. One of the greatest dangers facing Michigan is Biden's plan to flood your state with refugees from terrorist hotspots all around the world, including Syria, Somalia, and Yemen. You know that. You know about that, right? It's in their plan. It's in the manifesto that he agreed to with Bernie Sanders. Crazy Bernie. Greatest loser on earth, Bernie Sanders. He gets beaten every time and he goes right back to work. I'll vote for this. I never saw a guy that could stand being beaten up so badly. He got hammered by the Hillary thing, but he really got hammered this last. All she had to do, Pocahontas, is leave one day earlier. He would have won every state. And he goes back and he says, let's have dinner, Pocahontas. Biden has pledged a colossal 700% increase. This is all in writing, by the way. You know, it's not. Increase in the flow of refugees. He will turn Michigan into a refugee camp. Biden has also pledged to terminate all national security travel bans. Overwhelming. You know, I got a travel ban that nobody talks about. But I said, you know, if a country thinks bad of us, if the people want to blow us up, if the people want to kill us, if the people hate us, I want a travel ban. Is that so bad to ask? And people fought me. They said, that's not nice. I won. We won. In fact, we won in the Supreme Court. We won in the Supreme Court. Now we keep people that hate us out of our country. Biden wants to give up the travel ban. He wants to knock down the wall. You know, the wall is almost complete, right? Over 400 miles. And we have the strongest southern border now we've ever had. And it's incredible what we've done on the southern border. Biden wants to knock down the wall. That's what we hear. They said, do you want to knock down the wall? I don't think he even knew what the hell they were asking him. Doesn't matter what he wants. It's what his handlers want. They want to overwhelm Michigan with poorly vetted migrants from jihadist regions. Well, Omar wants that to happen. AOC wants that to happen. Ilhan Omar, she's not happy with our country. She's not happy with our country. She wants to tell us how to run our country, right? Take a look at that. She wants Ilhan Omar. But I like her very much because, damn it, Minnesota, you better vote for me. If that plus the riots, right, where they took down Minneapolis, we saved it. We sent in the National Guard. We saved it. Well, it took them the better part of a half an hour. You know, they could have called about 2 weeks earlier, right? I would love to go into Portland because, first of all, Seattle, we said we're going in. And we were going in the next morning, and they all said, we're going to leave now. Thank you very much. But we're not supposed to. What we're supposed to do is they're supposed to ask us, and we want the governor of Oregon, Portland, we want the governor of Oregon to call us. We will solve that Portland problem in a period of, would you say, a half an hour or less. Wasn't that beautiful? In Minneapolis, they came in, these soldiers with the most expensive helmets in the history of mankind. You approved them. They had more computers, they have everything. They could look at somebody and the somebody is gone. But they came in, bomb, bomb, bomb. You saw 1, 2, 3 black outfit. Then all of a sudden you had a second row and a third row. And they had their tear gas and they had their pepper spray, which the other side doesn't want to use because it's not nice. You know, they can throw cans at you and they can throw rocks and stones and hurt your police, but you're not allowed to guard yourself with tear gas, pepper spray, which 100% are effective. So they just marched forward and the whole thing was over. It was like, it was over, right? I don't know. There's something about that when you watch everybody getting pushed around. There's something very beautiful about it. I don't care what anyone says. Not politically correct. I'll be on. They'll say, he thinks that was beautiful. But you people get it. You get it probably better than I do even, right? When you get right down. But what they're doing will not only undermine your security, but it will overcrowd your hospitals and divert needed resources for low-income communities that we're all for. We want to help people. We want to help our citizens. Under my leadership, we achieved the most secure border in U.S. history. And when the wall is finished, which will be very soon, we are going to have a great, big, beautiful celebration. And with that wall, by the way, you know, we're keeping out terrorists, extremists, violent criminals, rapists, murderers, and we also, I have to say, our Border Patrol and ICE have done an incredible job. You know, ICE has removed thousands of MS-13 out of our country. And not a lot of people want that job. That's a tough job. You got to be a certain type of person. You don't want it with this handsome guy with the sunglasses. You don't want it. He doesn't want to be a member of ICE. They go into what they call a nest, and the fists are flying and everything, and then they walk out, and that's the end of that. No, these guys are tough and smart, and you know what? They love our country, and we love them too. We invested $2.5 trillion in the United States military. We have the greatest equipment any nation has ever had. When I came, a highly overrated general told me, sir, we have no ammunition. We maybe had to do something. We have no ammunition, sir. I said, no president should ever hear that again. Anyway, we spent $2.5 trillion, and we have the greatest equipment, missiles, rockets, tanks, planes, fighter jets, ships, tankers, bombers. We have the greatest equipment. We have, I call it the super duper missiles that go very fast, hypersonic, right? Super dupers. They go 5 to 7 times faster than the fastest missile in the world. They go so fast you can't do anything. I mean, it's like, and by the way, our nuclear is rebuilt, replenished. And here's what you have to do. We had no choice. It was not in good shape. Hope to God we never have to use any of this equipment, okay? And the best way you don't have to use it is if you have it, okay? That's it. But we have the best ever that we've ever had. We launched, all made in the USA, by the way, every ounce of it. And we launched the first new branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in 75 years, United States Armed Forces. 75 years, think of it, the Space Force. Right? Which people really, I mean, look, you know, a couple of them made the statement, whether you like them or not, I made promises during the campaign. But some of them say, I actually produced more than the promises I made, as opposed, most politicians never keep their promises. But think of it, Space Force, I never talked about Space Force. I realized after being here for a year and a half, I said, you know, Russia's doing big stuff out in space, China's doing big stuff. I said, we got to have a Space Force. They were not happy when this happened. But we got it through Congress, thanks to your congressmen and various other people, right? We did a good job, thank you, man. We did a good job, and we have Space Force, and it's going to end up being one of our most important, without question. I withdrew from the last administration's disastrous Iran nuclear deal. $150 billion for nothing. Here's $150 billion. $1.8 billion in cash. I'm even more impressed with that. Think of it. Cash. $1.8 billion they got. And you know, we got nothing. We got nothing. In fact, that agreement's almost going to expire if we didn't terminate it, which we did. I kept my promise, recognized the true capital of Israel, and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. I also recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. 52 years they were working for it. 52 years. They'd come in every year. They'd fly in with those beautiful jets, and everybody would come in. And they'd have lunch, and they'd talk 2-3 days, then they'd leave. 52 years that went on. I did it in about 2 hours. Golan Heights. And instead of endless war, we are forging peace in the Middle East. No blood on the sand. No blood. No blood. I did more in 47 months than Sleepy Joe Biden did in 47 years, which is true. Now the Democrats are pushing the most far-left agenda ever put forward by a presidential nominee. The Biden plan would destroy Social Security and destroy protections for pre-existing conditions. His running mate co-sponsors a socialist health care plan to ban private insurance. A lot of you have private insurance. We have 180 million people, and they love their private insurance, and they want it. They don't want to go into a hospital ward when they have a cold. They want to have their private insurance, and they want their doctor, and they want their plan. And Obama said that you can have your doctor and you can have your plan. And he said it 28 times, and he lied. Biden also supports abolishing school choice in charter schools. It's not going to happen. In a second term, I will provide school choice to every parent in America. A vote for Republicans is a vote for safe communities, great jobs, and a limitless future for all Americans. It's a vote for the American dream. That's what we're doing. And in conclusion, over the next 4 years, we will make America into the manufacturing superpower of the world, and we will end our reliance on China once and for all. We will hire more police, and thank you to law enforcement for being here. You're all over. We love our police. Thank you. We have a lot of law enforcement here. I said to Biden during the debate, I said, name one law enforcement group that supported you, and Chris Wallace bailed them out. Then I said, say the words law and order, just law and order, nothing fancy, law and order. We just want law and order. Everybody wants that. And he said he didn't want to get involved. And then Chris Wallace bailed him out again. I said, no, you can't do that, because I was really debating two people. No, I was really debating one, Chris Wallace. But I said, name it. Then I think he said, didn't he say something like, law, order, and safety and security and all this, He wanted to soften it up because the radical left will throw him overboard with that. No, I said, say law and order, but he couldn't do it, but he got bailed out. But he's going to increase penalties for assaults. If you take a look at what's going on with assaults, we are going to take care of our police, and when they do bad things to our police, the people that do it are going to suffer the consequences. Okay? I think I have every police group in the nation. In fact, they had down as part of the script, I was supposed to read them. I said, I can't read that long. I would have been reading here all day long. But we literally have every police group in the nation. We even got the endorsement of New York City Police. They've never done it before. We got the endorsement of Chicago Police. And, that's tough because they never did it. We've got every law enforcement. We've got Florida, Texas. We've got everybody. They're all with us. So we do have New York. That's right. But I just want to thank them because they're incredible, and they take a lot of abuse, and they don't realize that the people of our country love them. Just realize it. And we will ban deadly sanctuary cities. Get them out of here. Nobody wants them. The only ones want them are the politicians. The people in California don't want them. The politicians want them. We will uphold religious liberty, free speech, and the right to keep and bear arms. Second Amendment. We will strike down terrorists who threaten our citizens, and we will keep America out of endless, ridiculous foreign wars of places you've never even heard of. We will maintain America's unrivaled military might, and we will ensure peace through strength. We will end surprise medical billing. That surprise medical billing is a bad deal, and it's now ending. Require price transparency, all signed up, goes into effect January 1st. Can you imagine if this sleepy guy gets in, and it's January 1st, and everybody says, this price transparency, I'll tell you what, it's bigger than healthcare. What do you say? It's bigger than healthcare. You talk about pricing, bigger. And can you imagine? And he'll get credit for it. They'll say, Biden did a phenomenal job on price. People have been trying to get this thing for 25 years. I got it done January. I said to my people, couldn't you do it like from 6-7 months ago? But they had statutory limits. You had to wait here, there, there. So on January 1st, I better damn well be president, I'll tell you. Well, I will be. I will be. Yeah, I will be. For 20 days. Don't do this to me. Don't do that. You can't do that. No. So January 1st, it goes into effect. We go out to January 20th. But you know what? I honestly believe, I don't think we're going to have to worry about it. I think we're going to have price transparency. We'll be here for 4 years. And then if we decide to go for an extra 4 or 8 or something. I think 12 is going to be now the gold standard. That'll be That'll be the new chant. And the other thing we're doing, as you know, is to further reduce the cost of prescription drugs. We've reduced it the first time in 51 years anyone's got. But now we're talking a big because I've instituted a favored nations clause. And I also got rid of the middlemen. The middlemen were making a fortune. And yesterday I said, I'll bet you, right? I'll bet you Hunter Biden is a middleman too. These middlemen have made a fortune. I mean, they make more money than the drug companies, the middlemen. It's all because of horrible legislation and crazy things. And we're thinking that probably Hunter Biden got a big piece of the action too. For his father. He got it for his... Did you see the letter where the father's supposed to get 10% of everything? The father's... He's running for president. He is a national security risk. We will strongly protect Medicare and Social Security, and we will always protect patients with pre-existing conditions. America will land the first woman on the moon, and the United States will be the first nation to land an astronaut on Mars, and that's very exciting. And all of that is happening. We will stop the radical indoctrination of our students and restore patriotic education to our schools. That's happening. We will teach our children to love our country, honor our history, and always respect our great American flag. And we will live by the timeless words of our national motto, "In God we trust." We're not going to be moving. For years, you had a president who apologized for America. Now you have a president who is standing up for America and standing up for the great people of Michigan. And I've been doing that long before I even thought about running for office. It's true, though. When I came here, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, it was always my number one issue. How come our country is being ripped off so badly by other countries? So I'm probably here because of Michigan, maybe more than any other reason, if you think about it. So get your friends, get your family, get your co-workers, get your boss. If you have a boss and he's a little lazy, say, boss, you get your ass out of that chair. Come on. And get out and vote. Get out and vote. This is the most important election in the history of our country. The most important. And I never thought I'd say that after our last victory. This is the most important election we've ever had. Send in your absentee ballots if you have requested one. Or you can vote early by going in and casting your absentee ballot in person. Just make sure you vote and make sure your ballot is counted. You're dealing with a very tricky, smart group of people. From Lansing to Mackinac, from Pontiac to Saginaw, from Kalamazoo to right here in Muskegon. Great place. We inherit the legacy of Michigan patriots who gave their blood, sweat, and tears for this beloved nation. This is the state where Henry Ford invented the assembly line. Think of that. Think of that. Great things happened in this state. It's a place where General Motors, Chrysler, Kellogg revolutionized entire industries. Amazing when you think of what Michigan has done. Michigan gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang, and gave us the unrivaled might of the American Midwest, right? I mean, think of that. Think of what Michigan, you know, when you think Michigan is something very special. We made America into the single greatest nation in the history of the world. And the best is yet to come. You watch, it's going to come. Proud citizens like you help build this country, and together we are taking back our country. We are returning power to you, the American people. That's what we're doing. With your help, your devotion, and your drive, we are going to keep on working. We are going to keep on fighting, and we are going to keep on winning, winning, winning. right? We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together, with the incredible people of Michigan, we have made America powerful again. We have made America wealthy again. Look at our stock market. Look at that market. Look at your 401ks. How are your 401ks doing, huh? You want to see them crash? Vote for Sleepy Joe. You'll have 401ks. They'll be lying right in that floor. You'll throw them away. We have made America strong again. We have made America proud again. We have made America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Michigan. Go out and vote.
And thank you for keeping it here with us at Real America's Voice. That was President Trump in Muskegon, Michigan, as he spoke in support of the American way of life. And remember, you can text APP to 888-111 for your America's Voice app, where you will get exclusive, unedited, behind-the-scenes footage from rallies, riots, protests, and conferences across the nation. So when news happens in your city, you can share your videos and maybe even join us here on air so America can hear your voice. Thank you again for joining us tonight. I'm Jessica Rivera. Good night.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.